And are you okay to run the polls?
Sure, I'm the one who, so once the poll slides come, I'm going to start the polls
Okay.
and I'll give them a minute. And then once they finish it, I'll publish the results. Then you can, just read out the results to the
Okay.
participants.
So when we get to the polls, I will stop sharing with the um, with the webinar, and you'll pick up and start sharing.
No, because Zoom allows a function wherein I can directly start the polls without you stopping the sharing.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So while the students are taking the poll, you don't need to stop your sharing.
Okay. And where do I see the results of the polls?
So once I publish the results, even what I'm going to do is I'm going to also give you the access to take the poll. So you can also take the poll if you want. And once I
Okay.
publish the results, you can see it on your screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And before the end of the webinar, like uh, 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to share a survey link, which will basically, ask participants how was their experience. So
Okay.
yeah, so you can just ask them to take the survey, which is very important.
Okay. Perfect.
So I'm just checking the other country.
Mm-hmm.
So these countries are like Italy, Greece, Switzerland, Singapore. Did you get it?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then Colombia as well.
Mm-hmm. Anything in Africa?
I don't think so.
Okay,
No.
that's fine.
Yeah.
So Europe, Asia, and South America. Got it. Thank
Yeah.
you. And you'll handle the recording too, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
So once I broadcast, I'll let you know. Broadcasting means that participants will be able to join the session and they will be able to actually see you. So you can, start with the session.
Perfect.
So let me just check some last minute things. I'm just sending a last minute announcement with the
Okay.
YouTube link.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Everything is set up from your end, right?
I believe so.
Okay. Let me just update the YouTube link so that I can broadcast it.
And this is scheduled to go 1 hour, correct?
Yeah, 1 hour, and just Melissa, I'll broadcast the session so that the participants can join in. So you can
Sure.
just welcome them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Melissa Norcross. I'm the course leader. We'll be starting in just a few moments, but let me welcome anyone who's joined us already. And let me also suggest that in your chat box in Zoom, you just type in yes, so that I'm aware that you're on and that we know the chat function is working.
So we have about 20 participants joining in.
Perfect.
I request the participants, once before they type in into the chat, from the drop down above, please select all panelists and attendees so that everyone can see your response.
I see we have several joining. We'll be starting in just about 2 minutes, but we'll give everyone a chance to join and get online. As we mentioned earlier, please feel free to open up your chat box and type in yes, so that I know you're online and you have the ability to put in chat information, so that you can give us feedback or ask questions over the course of this introductory webinar. Please also ensure that you have your speaker turned on for the webinar sessions and you've set all of your microphones to mute. The chat box, you want to be sure you've typed in yes, so that I can see that you're online. As a comment, we won't be using the Q&A function for this webinar, only use the chat function. We'll be starting in just about 1 minute. Give everyone a chance to get on. Okay, it is now 9 o'clock, and we will make an effort to both start and finish on time. I'm Melissa Norcross, and I will be your course leader for this course on leading organizations and change. This is the introductory webinar for week 1. And It is now 1 p.m. UTC, and we will begin. While we're waiting to start the webinar, I just want to make sure everyone has their speakers turned on and you can hear well. All your microphones have been set to mute. Use the chat box for any comments that you have, and not the Q&A functionality. That way we keep all of our conversations in a single spot. And I will, as the webinar progresses, if we need to use your microphone, we'll have support turn on your microphone if that's necessary. So, welcome to the course. I'm very excited to have you all here. I am Melissa Norcross, and I am you're going to be your course leader. Let me advance the slides. Easier said than done. Okay. So first off, let me start with the agenda for today's course. First, we're going to give you a quick guide to using Zoom so that everyone's all familiar. We'll give you a welcome from the whole team here at Emeritus. We'll talk a little bit about the attendees of the course and who your colleagues and peers will be. Then we'll provide an overview of the course, give you the rundown on your assignments and the grading that we'll be using. And then I will hand it over to our technical support people who will give you a good overview of the Canvas platform that we'll be using. And then we will be then using providing the answers to any of the questions that you might have. Sorry, I understand a few of you are having a little bit of trouble hearing me. Can you hear me well now? I'm getting over a cold, so my volume is a bit low naturally. I just wanted to make sure that everyone can now hear me. Okay, that's perfect. Okay. So let me give you first a quick guide to Zoom. As I mentioned before, please use the chat box for all of the questions and comments that you might have, and ensure that you select all panelists and attendees from the drop-down list. That way everyone will see your contributions. If you wish to speak, let us know via that same chat box, and we will unmute you. This and all webinars are recorded and will be posted on Canvas within 24 hours. So if, for example, you would have to leave a webinar early or be unable to attend for any reason at all, you will be able to access a recording of this and all webinars that we have right there on your course platform. So you don't have to worry about it. More importantly, if you attended and there were some things that you didn't quite catch or would like to review, please don't hesitate to go back and review those webinars, and you'll be able to see and review anything that had been covered during those sessions. So let's first talk about the course professor. John Van Manen is a professional of organizational studies at MIT Sloan School of Management. I think you'll really like him. He's very engaging. I may be a little bit biased, but I think he's a great professor and is very, very engaging on a subject that is, frankly, very challenging to both practitioners and scholars alike. His background is as an organizational ethnographer of organizations that range from Disneyland to police detectives to fishermen to MBA students at MIT and Harvard Business School. So there is a great deal of diversity in his work, and I think you will really enjoy the perspective that that brings to the subject matter. He was also formerly a visiting professor at Yale, the University of Surrey in the UK, at INSEAD in France, and of course an honorary fellow at Cambridge, which some people would refer to as the Harvard of the UK. He has worked globally with organizations like Siemens, BMW, Mars, Warburg Dillon Reed, BP, the US IRS, and a wealth of other organizations that regularly have reached out to him to ask for his very expert help. He holds an MS and a PhD in social administration from the University of California in Irvine and a BA in poli-sci and sociology from California State University at Long Beach. He is just an extraordinary professor, and I think you will truly enjoy his perspective on all of the topics that we're going to be covering. So this is a perspective on the course team and the folks that will be supporting you in this journey. I am your course leader, of course, so all things content related, subject matter related, you should feel free to reach out to me through the course platform. Ask me any questions that you like. I am both challenged and engaged in this topic. I have been a practitioner, and so I love getting questions and thinking through issues that are related to organizational change. It is not an easy topic, but it is a fun and challenging one to think about. And so any questions that you have, I just love to get. As you can see, we've got several other people supporting us from the technology side of things and from the course administration side. And they're here to help us make sure that the platform and the technology doesn't get in our way, but supports our learning journey. And you should feel free. All the technical questions go to them. And you can get there through your submit and ask for help button, and all of the content questions should come to me. A little bit about me. I am your course leader. I am currently a research fellow at the Naval Academy. I am an executive moderator at Collaborative Gain, which is an organization that hosts the councils, which is a peer executive learning network where executives for large companies come together and share and give help. And I'm the founder and CEO of 80/20, a strategy consulting firm focused on providing great strategies for good business. I have been, over the course of my career, a consultant on leadership and strategy, covering 3 continents and at companies that range from startups to Fortune 100 companies all over the world. My passion is really to help companies and leaders get better at what they do. And you'll see that theme both in the course and over the course of my career. I currently teach courses on strategy and leadership and organizational change, both here and at other places. I just completed a strategy course at the Universidad Panamericana in Aguascalientes, and am looking forward to teaching some other classes on strategy and organizational change. I have previously held the position as a chief strategy officer at a software company, and I have experience in M&A transactions and turnarounds, as well as large-scale change initiatives. I hold a PhD in values-driven leadership from Benedictine University, an MBA from Harvard Business School, and a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering from MIT. So now enough about us. Let's talk a little bit about you. We currently have 92 participants in this class from 20 different countries. As you can see, you cover a wide range of geographies. I think it's almost every continent except Antarctica that's covered. And that's a great thing for you because learning from each other is as important as learning from any of the professors. In fact, I would argue possibly more so. Organizational change is a very complex topic, and the breadth and depth of the peers you have to interact with over the course of this really makes it a rich learning experience. So we have a critical mass of folks from the US, India, Brazil, and Switzerland. Also, you can see that we've got folks from Asia, from the UK and Europe, South America, North America. And then in that large other category, we have several inside of Europe, including Italy, Greece, and Switzerland, obviously. And we also have some folks from Singapore and from Colombia. So that trend to have people from every continent really continues. So that is great news. And the discussion boards that you'll be participating in during this course will be richer as a result of this varied experience. In addition, you represent a variety of industries. Taking consulting to the side for the moment, education, healthcare, IT services, IT, civil construction, banking, fast-moving consumer goods. And then consulting, of course, as an industry serves those and other industries. So the breadth of the perspective on different industries, the level of change that we see in each of those, and the special issues that face each of these different industries will also add some breadth and depth to the course and the discussion boards that you are able to have with one another. In addition, there is a great distribution of career tenure and experience. We've got folks who are just starting their careers to folks who have nearly 30-year careers. I want to encourage those of you who are just beginning their professional journeys and have 0 to 4 years of experience that your perspective is equally valuable. So don't feel intimidated by folks who've been at this longer. The one thing about organizational change in leadership is that no one is ever a complete master at it. And the situations that you face are always that little bit new. So the opportunity that you have to gain experience from others in different industries is equally relevant, whether you're 5 years into your career or 25. And gaining perspective from people who are new, for those of you who have been in the workforce for a number of decades, is important as well, because every change initiative we take on involves gaining the buy-in and cooperation and input from every aspect of the workforce. And having those varied perspectives is very important if an organizational change initiative is going to be successful. So that's important. Now, as we go forward, I'd like to start us by having a conversation about where each of you are on this change journey. So let me start with a poll. And that poll involves asking how many of you actively participate in a change initiative in your organization, are expecting to lead a change initiative in the near future, or assisting other companies or businesses who are undergoing change initiatives. And if you would check those that are relevant for you, and you are also able to check more than one if more than one of these apply to you, and then hit submit, and we can go from there. Let me see if I can. Oh. There we go. Okay, it looks like 43% of us are actively participating in a change initiative in your own organization. Another 36 are expecting to lead a change initiative in the near future, either by yourself or as part of a team. And a remaining 21% of you are assisting other companies or businesses within your organization undergoing a change initiative. That means that this course, for most of you, will be readily applicable and will go right alongside the work that you're doing. And I'd like to encourage you to loop in all of your learning and the questions that you have from your real work into this course. Feel free to use the discussion boards and really engage the community. That's what will make this course the most impactful learning experience for you. So let's go to the next poll and find out how we are. I'm going backwards. Okay. How would you describe the outcome of the most recent change effort in your organization? Was it hugely successful, moderately unsuccessful, a total failure, or is it too soon to tell? And we'll give that a second. Okay, so the poll would suggest that only 5% had found it, your most recent change initiative, hugely successful. 36 would call it moderately successful. 30% would call it moderately unsuccessful. And another 30% suggests that it's too soon to tell. I would say these are fabulous numbers. Most of the data that we have suggests that most change initiatives fail. More than 50% fail right out of the gate. And that is because they're hard and complex. So I want you to all be encouraged that that you're having the level of success that you are, and also that this course will help you increase those average odds and hit even better numbers for long-term change than you might otherwise get. So let's go to the next survey. So let's talk about the challenges associated with change. There's all kinds of challenges that come up when you try and implement change. There's people, team, management, there's new processes, the challenges associated with conflicting goals. What it really comes down to is that change is hard. It's complex. And the more complex the system that we have, the more complex and difficult it is to overcome that and achieve the level of change and the results from that change that we'd like to have. It's no different than we face in our day-to-day lives in terms of making a change in our personal lives. And yet, when we put it inside the organizations that we live and work inside and try and implement that change, we hit a new level of complexity. And it's my hope that this class and the things you will learn in it and the tools that you will have at your disposal after coming through it, together with the perspectives that you gain, will help you to meet all of these challenges head on and approach them with a level of maturity and understanding that allows you to set your next change initiative or your current one up for a degree of success that would have been difficult to attain in any other way. So overcoming things like fear, communication with stakeholders, the adaptation that we're going to need to make. Those are all important things. Let me go forward. The themes from this course will focus first around understanding your own leadership strengths through the MIT 4 Capabilities Leadership Model. I think it's very important to recognize the fact that we're not simply an observer of these change processes. We are, in fact, the leader of them as well as a participant. And the strengths and capabilities that we bring, as well as the perspectives that will either help or get in the way of those change initiatives, are very, very important to understand, both for ourselves and as a way to have perspective on the other players that will be participating with you in that. So we really start with a little bit of self-reflection, understanding your own capabilities and strengths. From there, we build forward to the organizational analysis to really understand in detail, the same way you focused on understanding yourself, understanding the organization through strategic, political, and cultural lenses so that you have as in-depth and thorough an understanding of the organization from all of these different perspectives, so that as you start to implement change, you understand where the sticking points might be, where the strengths that you'll have to lean into are, and then using that to harness the organizational power that is at your disposal through the networks that are already in place inside the organization. Altogether, too often, we take a scientific approach to doing X, then Y, then Z, without recognizing the fact that these are human systems that we're working inside. And a human system is really a network in which we have influencers, we have those who are transmitters of information, who are coordinators, and different resources that exist within that human system are really important to both understand and to direct in a positive way toward the change initiative that we'd like to undertake. After we cover that topic, we're going to then try and understand the process and tactics of change, trying to understand how change happens. With all of these assets, now that we understand the organization and the assets we have at our disposal, how does the process of change happen? And what are the steps that we need to think about as leaders of that change in order to make happen in an efficient way the change that we'd like to deliver? And lastly, we're going to bring all of that understanding together, put it into practice in a very compelling simulation that allows us to take all of what you've learned and try it out. This simulation is a great simulation. It lets you get in there and play around with things. And I want to encourage you that the purpose of this particular simulation is really to let you play and understand. In an organization, in real life, you get sort of one shot at it and you get minimal feedback. You can try something and it might work or it might not, but it can be very difficult to understand why it worked, what worked about it, what was good, what was bad. This simulation will allow you to try all of the things you've learned so far. It'll give you a specific role in which you will then be able to apply all of your learnings in and let you try out some of these tactics. If you find that you go through your simulation and it doesn't work great and your change initiative doesn't go fabulously, that's okay. You can go back and repeat that simulation as many times as you would like, so that you can then learn more and more about the levers that you have at your disposal and how to use them appropriately to manage change in the best way possible. I have done several of these change simulations in the past. This is one of them, and I think it's a great one. But I think these are the things that you remember for a long time to come, together with the discussions you'll have with your colleagues and peers on the discussion boards about them, because they're vivid examples that really drive home the lessons that you've learned and help you put them in perspective. So I think that is a great capstone experience for this course that makes it more impactful than the 6-week time frame might suggest it would otherwise be. So let me pose a question to the group, and let me suggest you put those in chat. What most interests you about this course? Just go ahead and put your answers in the chat box and I'll monitor them and try and answer and address anything that you have as a group. So start typing. Erica says really learning and sharing experiences with others. We've got a couple of themes around increasing the success and the velocity of change. J.C. Linder, I think this is a great one, how to get people involved instead of being afraid and view it in a positive way. There's another theme in here about dealing with team dynamics. That'll be a part of this as well. And the dynamics of change. We've had a couple of folks interestingly mention cultural diversity. In managing cultural diversity in organizational politics, and both recognizing them and dealing with them as part of the change initiative. The other thing that I saw, Devika, who mentioned culture in the mindset of change. And I think implicit with that and related to that are several others who've mentioned this notion that of the difference between embracing change and executing change or fearing change. And that kind of mindset is very, very important, especially in our volatile and sort of VUCA world, that that is a very complex issue because the speed of change is just in the world. And our organizations have to change and adapt to that. And yet we need to be understanding that the pace of change cannot be too overwhelming. Satyendra mentioned balancing the pace of change with the need to stay relevant. And a couple of others also mentioned the need to understand that too much change too fast can be overwhelming as well. And getting change to be a constant. Now, that's something I'd like to encourage us to talk about in the discussion boards, is the sort of the balance of change. And I think it's different for each organizational culture, each organization, each industry. But some of the premises and rules for telling and identifying when it's too much, too fast, or when it's not enough are good rules of thumb to have in mind to carry forward from this class. My apologies. I am getting over a cold. So I've got one comment about garnering the motivation and buy-in once to a future change process once a change process has failed. And that I think we'll get to mid-course or later in the course as we think about the complexity of change initiatives, because often you do have stakeholders who have been through change initiatives that have left them less enthusiastic about future change initiatives. And that will be present as you think through your simulations, is that not everyone's appetite for change is the same. And so being able to recognize that and manage that as you go through this will be really important. And I will, of course, weigh in on those discussion boards as well. Well, thank you for all of those questions. I want to encourage you to, in the discussion boards, keep those questions coming, ask them of each other, and more importantly, be ready to share your experiences in those discussion boards so that people can help you and your experiences and perspectives can help them. So let's move on now. I'm going to, so let's talk about our schedule. This is our schedule. Our modules and webinars are in here. You'll see them in gray. The first one in gray, July 18th, is our course introductory webinar. That's what we're on now. Then we will immediately go into week one, where we will cover the MIT 4 capabilities model, which again will give you perspective on your own change mindset. Week two, which will take us toward the end of July, gives you 3 perspectives on organizations. And week 3 allows you to get some perspective on power influence inside organizations and how that plays out in change initiatives. And that'll be the first week in August. Toward the end of that second week in August, we will have our mid-course webinar. That mid-course webinar is a chance for you to, for us to really review the parts of the course that we've covered already, talk about the things yet to cover, and build toward that simulation exercise that'll allow you to bring everything together and try and put it into practice in week 5. Week 4, we will come into discussing organizational networks and how you can leverage and both understand them and then leverage them for change initiatives. We'll do the simulation in week 5. And during week 6, you will do a reflection paper and a simulation debrief. That's really a chance for you to reflect on your simulation experience and put down on paper some of the things that you've learned over the course of this course. So, and then we will have our final closing webinar on the 22nd of August. And we schedule it that way so that it's a chance for us to talk really between the time that you do your simulation and the time that you write about it. It's meant to really allow us as a group to talk about some of the things that happened in the simulation and give you some additional perspective before going into really writing about it and reflecting on it yourself. So there's a chance for us to reflect collectively on those simulation experiences, as well as in parallel reflecting on them as individuals and then amongst one another. As I mentioned, all of the webinars will be recorded, including this one, so that if you want to come back and revisit it, or you have a last minute schedule problem, you can always come back and view it separately at a time other than that which was originally scheduled for the group call. The assignments, discussions, and grading. You will be asked to turn in written assignments and contribute to the course discussion board. This is really, particularly on the discussion board, this is as much for your benefit and preparing you for the simulation exercise as anything, because the more real world experience, the greater depth you bring into that final exercise. And that final simulation. So you really want to lean into those discussion boards because they will help you get the most out of this course. The course overall will be assessed and graded as either complete or incomplete. And you will get feedback on some of your assignments through the grading team, as well as have the opportunity to provide and get feedback amongst your peer group on one assignment. And those assignments will be for your peer feedback will be given out as they come up. And I really want you to be able to lean into that as well, because that's a chance to share perspectives on different situations, different cultural situations, different ways of thinking about these change initiatives. So that's it's a unique experience that will, I believe, be of great value to you. So our Q&A discussion board, it's your turn to ask the questions in those. Each participant is required to ask and respond to at least one question about leading change. I would encourage you to make them real. So these will be on the Canvas program that is really your platform for this whole course. There will be discussion boards during each of the weeks. I would encourage you to put real questions there, add depth, add perspective, and really think about what you'd like to get as input from other experienced business leaders. One of the greatest things that you have in this course is 92 really smart people, and you have their undivided attention for a little bit of time. So I encourage you to really think, if you had 90 smart people, what would you want to ask them? And many of you are in the middle of change initiatives or dealing with the fallout from prior change initiatives. Ask them the hard questions. Ask them the stuff that really matters. And likewise, really think through your own responses to the questions of other people. Share resources that might be helpful. Provide your own perspective. One of the things that I think often you'll learn, and I always forget who said this, but how will I know what I think until I read what I write or hear what I say? Often, this is a good way to really allow your own mind to work on someone else's problem. And you can often be surprised by what you hear yourself say or type. And that allows you to distill your thoughts in ways that may provide insights on your own issues. And also, feel free to ask and answer more than one question. One is the minimum, but this is an unparalleled resource of 90 people who are smart and passionate about change. I would encourage you to use it as best you can. and use the Q&A board throughout the entirety of this course. It's an unabashed way to get free help.
Hi, Melissa. Sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
Hi, everyone. This is Praveen. Just wanted to update you that we would be launching the week 1 tomorrow. And once we launch the week 1 tomorrow, you should be able to see the Q&A board tomorrow. So every Thursday, a new week will be launched. And just to update you, we'll have the Q&A board available to you from tomorrow.
Wonderful. Thank you. I forgot to mention that tomorrow is the day. Every Thursday, you will see the next week launched, and that's our launch day. Grading, let me talk a little bit about grading. All of the details are in the syllabus, and you will find them there. The quick overview is this. The individual assignment submissions are worth 55 points. The discussion board and your participation in that is worth 35. And the simulation exercise is worth 10. You have to receive 50% of the points in order to pass the course. Obviously, these add to 100, and you need to get at least 50 of the points in order to pass the course. I would like to encourage you that if you're anywhere near the 50%, you're not getting the most value out of it. You really want to lean into all of these exercises and do what you can to support your peers, because that ultimately will put you in a better place. My recommendation for you is at all costs, stay up to date. Calendar and block off your study time. Find a quiet place to study, schedule team meetings in advance. Don't try and rush this in at the last minute. The reason why is, for this course in particular, it's a complex subject, and our brains need time to digest that information and learn from one another and ourselves, and really understand what your own perspective is and how you might apply that within your own organization. So just like you can't starve a plant for a week or 2 or 3 for water and then try and water it a whole bunch at once, you don't want to do that to your learning. You want to keep it nice and moist. Make sure that plant is tended to on a regular basis, and it will flourish. The same is true of this particular topic. Unlike other topics, it's so complex and so deep that you really need time for it to be nurtured and for you to digest. I'd like to also encourage you, for that same reason, to interact with your classmates and the whole team here at Emeritus. Take advantage of the discussion platforms to share and learn with your classmates. Be really proactive. Reach out if you have any issues at all. Don't let the technology or any logistics get in the way, because they won't resolve themselves. Quickly let us know if there's any kind of issues, and get them resolved really quickly. And then the more you apply the course frameworks and lessons, the more you will learn and the more you will benefit. Change management is something that you only learn by wrestling with it. We had one question that I wanted to address too. In the past, we've had group assignments. We don't technically have any group assignments in the course, but if there are discussions to be had, you want to make sure that you have them in that Q&A framework. But you will not have any group projects during this entire course. You will, however, have the one opportunity to get peer feedback, and that is how you will interact with your peers as well as on the discussion boards. Questions? Any other questions so far? Okay. I don't see any questions. So now I'm going to turn it over to the design team to talk through an introduction to Canvas.
Hello, everyone. You should be able to see my screen now. Melissa, if you can just check the chat if the participants are saying yes, if they're able
Sure.
to. Okay, all
And
right.
we can see it. I
Sure.
can see it. So can everybody else.
Hi, everyone. This is Praveen from Program Support. I'll be your course administrator. And I'll just take a brief introduction of our learning platform that is Canvas. So once you go to the website, that is student.emeritus.org, and once you enter your registered email address and the password, you would be taken to the dashboard, the screen that you see right now. Now, you might be enrolled in some other emeritus courses as well. So you will see multiple tabs for multiple courses that you're enrolled for. But if you're enrolled for just the leadership course, you will see this tab only. So here is where you would see all of your course tabs. At the left, you would see several tabs such as account, dashboard, courses, groups, calendar, Canvas inbox. And at the right, you would be seeing a very important part of your course, which is the to-do list. This list will let you know all your pending activities throughout the course. Say if you have an assignment due date in 2 days, it will let you know beforehand what assignments or discussions that you need to complete. Also, it'll also let you know about some important events that will happen throughout the course, such as an upcoming webinar or an upcoming discussion session. So now let me just take you through the basics of these tabs at the left. If you click on the account tab, it will give you options to check your profile and edit your profile. If you click on the settings tab, this will actually let you know your time zone, which is one of the important factors for the learning platform. You can change your time zone and change your language as well. Once you do that, the system will automatically, sync to the time zone that you selected so that the important sessions and events can be kept track of. All right. The course tab at the left will let you know about the different courses that you have. The calendar will actually let you know the important events that you have throughout the course. And the Canvas inbox is a place where you can actually message your colleagues or even message Melissa if you have any content query. So here is the inbox that you will use very often if you have queries for your colleagues or for Melissa. You just have to click on this pen icon at this right top, which says compose a new message, select your respective course. Suppose I have a content query for Melissa. I'll just type her name. I'll put the subject in, content query. I'll type my query in this text box and just send it out to Melissa. In this way, all your content queries can be easily answered by Melissa. So please make sure all your content queries are sent through the Canvas inbox only. We'll let you know if you have any logistical questions on how to send that to us. We'll see that in a bit. Now let me go back to the dashboard. So once you are on the dashboard, you will click on the Leadership, Organization, and Change course tab. And once you click on the course tab, it'll show you several options such as home, modules, grades, support, and one more tab that is people's tab, which will be enabled tomorrow once we launch the week 1. So home tab will have a brief description about the course And it'll also let you know the information on how to access Canvas, which app you can use in order to access Canvas via your phone. Now let me go to another important tab, that is the Modules tab. Now this tab would be the tab which you would be often visiting every day, each day of your week. Once I click on the Modules tab, you should be able to see the Arrival and Setup module. There will be several line items which you need to go through. There'll be certain instructions for each week. It'll have some videos as well. So please make sure that you go through all these line items and finish all the necessary assignments and discussions. Now, please note, once you finish a line item, at the right, you would be able to see a right tick mark. For an example, if I have visited the grading and assessment details page, it'll show me a right tick mark, which means that I have viewed the page and completed the necessary requirement. So from tomorrow, you should be able to see a week 1 module below the Arrival and Setup module. We will be sending you out complete information on how to access the week 1 module, all right, and the assignments and the discussions that will be available for you with the due date. Another important tab which we would like you to check is the Grades tab. Now the Grades tab will let you know your weekly grades for the course. For this week, we have the Create Your Emeritus Learning Platform Profile assignment. Now, this is an ungraded assignment and hence it is marked as 0. Once you complete this assignment, you should be able to see a text entry option enabled here. And once we grade that, you will see your actual score in this gradebook. So as weeks pass by, you should be able to see lots and lots of assignments and discussion which are graded in the gradebook. And you'll also see your respective marks once we start grading those assignments. Now, as you remember, if you have any logistical question, now most of our students have come from a working background and they might not be able to keep up with the course or they might require an extension. So in that scenario, you need to contact us, program support. So how will you do that? For that, you need to click on the support tab here. Once you click on the support tab, you need to fill out this Zendesk tool, which will ask you several questions regarding your query. It says, please complete all fields below. So once I click on the first tab, it'll give me several options. So you need to select your options, which says arrival setup, team formation, what exactly the question is regarding. And once you select that, you can either name, suppose I have a query regarding an assignment. So it'll ask you the assignment name or number. If you know that, that's well and good. And then you can briefly describe your query. And once you do that, you can just click on submit. So there are several options. So most of the time, if you have any logistical question, you require an extension, you require some, for example, if you have a video playback issue, you want to know about a webinar, you want to know about simulation, how to access simulation, that would all be all logistical questions which would be handled by us. And once you fill up all these tabs and click on submit, we would receive that ticket and we would make sure that we answer your ticket and answer to your query within 24 hours. Now let me go back to the dashboard. As I informed you about the to-do list, now please note, once you submit an assignment and after submitting the assignment, you might see still the notification for that respective assignment shown under the to-do list. Well, that does not denote that you haven't submitted the assignment. The system puts the notification under the to-do list until the due date. So if you have submitted assignment before the due date, and if you still see the notification under the to-do list, please do not panic. That does not mean that you have not submitted the assignment. It is just that the system will show you the notification until the due date. Now, please remember, as every Thursday, we would launch a new week. For the assignments that will be launched every week, you will be given a 7 days due date period, which means you will be allotted 7 days to complete that assignment. Apart from that, you will be given 7 more days in case if you're not able to complete that assignment within the due date. So you can ask for extension, and then we can provide you a 7-day extension period where you can complete the assignment and submit it. The students who submit the assignments within the due date will get their grades instantly. I mean, they stand a chance to receive that grades faster than the students who do not submit their assignment within the due date. So please keep a track of your weekly assignments and discussions and try to submit those assignments within the due date and within the 7 days extension period. So that's all from my end. This was a very basic and brief introduction. I will stop sharing my screen now and hand it over to Melissa.
Okay. Okay. So in summary, you're going to receive an email on Thursday of each week. Read through that email carefully and in full. It will tell you everything you need to do and answer all of your questions. Look out for any announcements made by me or program support on Canvas for any updates or additional information. Make sure you watch the module videos to embed your learning and make time to reflect and participate in the discussion boards. Any technical or logistical questions, as we just discussed, including extensions on assignments, go to the program support area, and you've just seen how to get there. Any content or learning questions, feel free to reach out to me via email on Canvas. If you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to ask program support. Click the support tab on the left navigation page of the Canvas homepage and submit the request. Let's see if I can. Next steps, get comfortable with Canvas. Create your Canvas profile and let us know you've completed it. Many of you already have. Great. Those of you who haven't, make sure and get in there and do that right away. And then when we launch tomorrow, make sure you start going through the material for week 1, all the videos, the discussion boards, and make sure you address your assignments. Any other questions? Thank you for your time. I'd like you to make sure you enjoy the course and don't hesitate to reach out to me if you've got any questions about the subject or the topic or are struggling with any concept. All other questions go to the program support, and you've just seen how to do it. We are here to help, and I look forward to watching you along this journey and supporting your learning of organizational change management.
Hi, participants. I have a survey posted in here. I have posted a link there. We request you to take the survey so that we would know how was the webinar for you, and we'll try to improve our services.
So this will, please make sure you do fill out that survey. We pay attention to that. We watch that and try and use that to shape what we do in the future. Someone asked across the platform, just in closing, the kinds of questions that I would like to receive. Basically, if you don't understand a concept, don't hesitate to send me an email. If you don't understand anything about the subject, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. But mostly, I also want to encourage you to share your thoughts and your experiences on the topic in those discussion boards. Thank you very much. Don't forget to fill out the survey, and I look forward to seeing you on the discussion boards. Thank you all. Bye.